everyone, Chef Jess here in the Vegan Gastronomy Kitchen, and today we are making vegan honey. So, for those of you who are joining live, say hello, tell me where you're from. I'm really excited to share with this recipe with you folks today. You do not need any special ingredients whatsoever. And in addition to making vegan honey lower cost, I'm also going to show you how to make a couple of other recipes using honey, which usually would use honey, which is a granola and also a very popular street food dish here in Greece called Loukoumades. And basically a loukoumade is a donut hole, but it's soaked in a honey syrup. And we're going to show you how to do that all vegan. So let's talk a little bit about honey, because it's one of those ingredients that in the vegan, when people are first transitioning to vegan, they're like, well, Jess, isn't honey vegan? Well, no, it's not vegan because it comes from bees. And so any product which comes from an animal is not vegan. And sometimes chefs around the world as well who are offering vegan options on their menu get confused about honey. So it's very important to understand, if you are developing a vegan menu, that you know that honey is not vegan and you can make it yourself very, very easily with some very simple ingredients. I'm going to show you how to customize it as well, because honey is a very special ingredient. I will admit, before I was eating a plant-based diet, I used to love honey, and it was one of the things that when I traveled around the world, I would collect honey, because honey from every region has a very unique flavor. It's very much like if you think about a wine. It has many different notes of flavor, and we're going to go over those as we are making this honey together, because there are so many different characteristics of honey that make it special, and I'm going to show you how you can make your very own special vegan honey at home. So let's get started. You're going to come down with me here. We are going to make our vegan honey together. So to get started on our vegan honey, one of the special characteristics of vegan honey is it has caramel notes. Let's see if I can get me in there and you guys. Okay, so we're going to get my stove on right here. So when we think of caramel notes, I think of like toffee, caramel, burnt sugar. It's going to have some more toasted flavors. So what I'm going to do is I already measured out my sugar here for my vegan honey, and I've attached the recipe in the description box below. This isn't in the recipe, but this is a bit of a pro tip for you guys if you want to create caramel notes or toffee notes in your vegan honey at home. So I've just got this heating up. I'm going to just put a couple of spoonfuls in, because I don't need to caramelize all of it. We just want to caramelize a small amount of it, just to give those beautiful toasty toffee caramel flavors to our delicious honey. So another flavor profile of vegan honey is, well, if you think about it, bees make honey, and what do bees eat to make the honey? Anyone tell me out there? I'm sure you guys all know. Well, of course, it's flowers. They eat the pollen of flowers, and then they produce the honey from the pollen. So we want to create some floral notes in our honey. And how do we do that? Well, there's a few different ways that we can do that. One of the really super easy ways to do it is what I'm doing today, is to add some orange blossom water, or any kind of floral blossom water. And you can add that to your vegan honey to give it a beautiful floral flavor profile. Some other ways that you can do that is you can steep some tea in your water, say for example jasmine or chamomile. So those are some other ideas for you guys. Now, I don't know if you can see, but look, see how it's already turning a nice toasted color. Once we get it to that stage, we're going to start adding our water components. So I have in here So I'll bring you guys back up. So I have in my jug here some water, or as I mentioned, if you wanted to give those floral notes, you could use a steeped tea. And that syrup that's in the bottom, we have a couple of different syrups in here, and they do play important roles. So the first one being molasses. Now molasses has a mineral kind of flavor. It also has some irony kind of flavors and caramel notes as well. Very earthy. It's what's used to make brown sugar as well. So that's how they make brown sugar, is putting white sugar with a little bit of that molasses. In addition to the molasses, I also have some glucose syrup, or for my folks in the US, you can use corn syrup. So the corn syrup has a function here. It's going to prevent our vegan honey from crystallizing. So it is an important ingredient, and we only use a very small amount in this recipe. In addition to that, I also have a little bit of lemon juice, not only for flavor, but it will also help with stopping it from crystallizing. So I'm just going to add a small amount of this to my pan, because I do want to start melting down that caramel that we just created, start dissolving it. So I'm going to give this a bit, it would have started setting by now, so we're just going to melt this back down, incorporate all of our flavors. There we go. Sizzling away. Now, what are some ways that we can use honey in the kitchen? Well, there's so many different recipes out there that require honey, not only for their flavor, but the function. So honey in pastries is going to add a chewy texture, so it's fantastic to add to cookies. It's also great to add to cakes. It's going to add a nice level of moistness as well. So you may have heard of the Russian honey cake. I would love to see one of you folks out there try that with this recipe. Or over Christmas time, we made some ginger cake, which requires honey as the sweetener, and it also keeps it really nice and moist. So that was a fantastic way to use this ingredient too. So still just melting this down. Now, because we are making a vegan honey, of course we are using something which is sweet, because honey is a sugar. I am using white sugar today, white granulated sugar, but you could also use the demerara, which is the one that you see in the coffee shops that they use to add to your coffee. So either one is fine. You will get a little bit of a darker honey, but see, that's all in your flavor profile, so it's just going to be a little bit more toasty, a little bit more caramelly, okay? Some other really interesting flavor profiles of honey, back in my country in Australia, we actually have eucalyptus honey, which has a little bit of a menthol taste. So if you ever wanted to create an Aussie honey, you want to do a little bit of menthol flavor in there, you can add that as well. So this is melting down. I'm going to add those syrups along there. Now we're going to let that cook down. We're going to let this cook for, it will take about 5 minutes or so. But what I do recommend is using a candy thermometer. Now if you don't have one of these, you can also do a test with your syrup. I've actually linked in the recipe how to test it. So what you would need to do, we're trying to get it to the thread stage. So you can get yourself a glass of cold water and just drop a little bit, get a teaspoon, drop a little bit of that in. And if you see little threads, then you know that your honey's ready, because we want a beautiful, thick consistency. Now I'm going to show you the consistency that we are looking at. I'm just putting my thermometer in here so we can check that temperature. Alrighty. So I'm going to show you the consistency because it's pretty crazy. So this is one that I made yesterday. But see how it's quite thick? It's got a nice viscosity to it. So this is fantastic for mixing into your vegan yogurt. So while my honey is simmering away, we are going to together start making some recipes using vegan honey. So let's get onto it. We're going to start making a super easy granola. Okay, so I'm going to just pop this over here. Alrighty. So to make our vegan granola, we're going to start off with a base, of course, of oats, but you can actually also use any type of rolled whole grain. So you could use rye or wheat berries, which is also very lovely. So I'm going to bring you guys down. We can check this out together. So I have here just some rolled wheat, and I'm just using the whole grain. You can use the quick oats, but I kind of like the texture of this one, or you can do a bit of a mix and match. And then you want to pick out some of your favorite nuts or seeds. I'm using today some pecans, and I've also got some almonds in here and some pistachios. But as I said, it's totally up to you what you want to use. You are the designer in the kitchen today with your granola. And I'm just going to roughly chop this up. You don't have to do this step. You can actually just put in the nuts whole. That's up to you. And while I am talking to you, I'm just giving my sugar over to the left here, a little bit of a swirl. I wonder if you can see. There we go. And I'm watching the temperature on it too. It's already at 105. So we're looking for 110 degrees, somewhere between 110 and 112 for our vegan honey. That's going to give it the nice thick viscosity, that thickness. So we're going to get this. I like to just kind of roughly chop it. I like some pieces still whole, some pieces smaller. And I've also got some flax seeds here, or some linseeds for some omega-3s. So tell me, guys, what's your favorite way to serve your your granola? Do you like it on yogurt, or how do you eat it? My favorite is just to put a little bit onto my porridge in the morning, or my oats, just for a bit of crunch. I remember when I used to work in a cafe, in the last cafe that I worked at, we used to put the granola on the morning muffins, which is a nice idea too. All right, so our honey is doing well. We're at 106 degrees here right now. So now what we've got to do is we have our oven preheated at 140 degrees with a fan. If you don't have a fan in your oven, you can just increase that a little bit to about 160. And of course, this wouldn't be a honeyed granola without our honey. So I've already measured out here our vegan honey. You can see it's all nice and gooey in here, along with a bit of vanilla and a neutral flavored oil. So you can use coconut oil if you want, just melt whatever you like. And I'm just whisking all of this together. Mix all of that. And this is going to coat all the pieces of our granola, make it really nice and sweet and crunchy. So we'll put that in with our nuts and our oats. Now, I do like to have fruit in my granola, but you never want to put it in at this stage, because if you put it in the oven with the fruit just burns. So it's not a good idea to put it now. Much better to add that right at the end. Okay, so we're just mixing this up until everything looks kind of wet. Oh, my vegan honey is boiling away. Another nice thing to add to your vegan honey, if you would like, is some orange zest or lemon zest. Here in Greece, we have thyme honey. So if thyme's in season, you can put a sprig of that in there. Really customize it, your own flavor, create your beautiful flavor profile like a fine wine for your vegan honey. All right, so this is looking nice. So we're going to get this onto a nice big tray. So I've just lined. So we're going to get that on. And if you're using, I would say total bake time is somewhere between 15 to 25 minutes. But if you are using an oven which the temperature can vary quite a bit inside, just check it like every 5 minutes or so, just to make sure you get a nice even brownie. You can always switch the trays around, or yeah, just move it around so you get nice and even. So I've just popped that on my tray, and this is going to go into the oven now. Okey-doke. So now, our vegan honey is done. I've already got I'm a huge fan. Oh, thank you for watching. So the vegan honey's already come to temperature. So I'm just going to set that aside to cool down. You want to cool it down for about 5 minutes or until it gets to about 80 degrees before you put it into a jar. And what a great gift. We're going to make a bunch of these and give it to our new Greek friends and neighbors. So yeah, it's a great little gift that you can give to people, your own aromatic vegan honey. So I'm actually talking about honey and our honeyed granola, the magic of television. I've already got some granola which I baked here, and it's been sitting on the bench for about 5 minutes or so. And so I was lucky enough to find these beautiful dried raspberries here, which are so delicious. And I've also got some raisins as well. So I'm just going to give them a quick chop. You don't have to, you can keep it whole. But I want little bits of red all through. And you don't need a lot of dried fruits because it is already a bit sweet, but it is a nice texture component. You get a little bit of chew, a little bit of sour, a little bit of sweet. So yeah, it's nice. So I'm just going to sprinkle that over so we're just going to sprinkle it on a granola. Oh, do we have a question? Oh, we have I'm a huge fan, was popped up just a moment ago. Okay, so we have our beautiful granola here. Oh, this is my favorite part. See how you get like these big clusters? So yummy. So we're just going to mix this up. And so this one I did a little bit different. We've got some cashews in here. We've got some almonds, pistachios. So yeah, you can kind of do whatever you like. Sometimes I'll do a chocolate one. So if you want to make them chocolate, you can just add a couple of tablespoons of cocoa powder and a little bit of vanilla in with the wet mix, and mix that together. So look at that. Doesn't that look great? We can put that in a jar when we want. And fantastic little gifts again. So I've got some vegan yogurt here, guys. And if you want to learn how to make your very own vegan yogurt, we also make it in the cheese course. And this one I strained as well, so it's a nice thick vegan yogurt, like a Greek, we're going Greek style here, and sweetened with that vegan honey as well. So very versatile. And I'm just going to put a little bit of this granola on top because, you know, we want to make this nice and decadent. And this is a beautiful breakfast that you can make. We would often serve things like this in the cafe, or, you know, if you're doing food service. Or I have a lot of my students actually that have bed and breakfasts. I know a lot of these places are closed right now, but this would be a fantastic little breakfast offering. Don't they look nice? So I'm going to pop that there. So you can see, beautiful, look at that. We've got a lovely breakfast here with our lovely vegan honey granola. But I did promise that I was going to show you a Greek specialty here, and they do use a lot of honey in Greece. It's very much a staple here, adding flavor and sweetness. They love very, very sweet desserts here. I'm going to show you one which is a very famous street food here called Loukoumades. So Loukoumades is basically a donut hole which is fried and then dipped in a syrup. So I'm just going to I'm going to put some in. I've already made this dough. It's basically a yeasted donut dough, or almost like a pancake dough. So I'm going to fry some of these, and then I'm going to tell you how I made it. So pull you guys over here. You can see me. Maybe you can see me fry them. There we go. See, there's my fryer there. So you want to fry them on about 170, 180 degrees. And I've got here in my jug just some water and a ice cream scoop. So I'm going to use that to scoop my donut batter. Okay. I'm going to give it a bit of a mix. It's puffed up, it's doubled in size. It's very, very wet. Okay. Doubled in size, very wet, very gooey. Apparently, they do this by hand in the shops when they drop them in the oil. But I'm going to use my ice cream scoop. So I'm going to scoop some of that out, and I just dipped it in that water to help it release a bit better. Okay. Oh, they're puffing up. Got some nice big Loukoumades here. And they only take a few minutes to cook. How many should we do? We'll do 5 and then I will tell you. Okay, so they're frying nicely. We're going to let them do their thing. And so I'm now going to tell you about how I made my dough. So as I mentioned, it's a yeasted dough. So all I did was I combined my water with yeast and also some plant milk. So I used soy milk, and all of those were they were a bit warm. So I just popped them in the microwave and then put the yeast in. A little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar, and all-purpose flour and vanilla, and that's it. And then you let that sit for half an hour until it's doubled in size. And then just like I did using the ice cream scoop, you can scoop those out, or you can be brave and use your hands and get little bits out into your fryer. But this is often served, as I mentioned, in street foods, or if you go to a lot of the restaurants here, they will also give this to you at the end of the meal, which is very popular because it's a very cheap dessert to make, and they're absolutely delicious. So they're starting to get nice and golden here. So one of the other things that they do with the Loukoumades is they make a special syrup using the vegan honey. So I've already prepared this for you ahead of time, kind of similar to what we did earlier. So it's a combination of just water, sugar, our vegan honey that we just made, and also there's a cinnamon stick in here, okay? So all I did was I boiled that all together, and then I set that aside, and then we're going to dip our lovely Loukoumades in there. So I'm just going to mix all of this together. See how our Loukoumades are going. Oh, they're getting nice and brown. Beautiful. What if you guys are donut fans out there? What's your favorite Greek food, your Greek treat? All right, so this is looking good. So it's just been a couple of minutes now. Just going to let those dry off a little bit, and we'll find a nice plate to put them on so we can serve these together. Alrighty, so let's look over. Oh, this looks good. Let's use this plate. Maybe this one. I'll use this one. Okay. So usually what we do with the Loukoumades, I'll bring you guys down so you can see my syrup. There we go. So I'm going to pop them straight into my syrup. And we're going to give those a little bit of a toss. Oh, they look good. Now, oh, we'll get some cinnamon as well. We've got to get a little bit of extra cinnamon. I'm just plating them up here on my plate. Yum-o. Make a nice tower. And you can always, if you want, you can put a little bit of extra syrup on the top. And they're often finished with extra cinnamon. So we're going to put a little bit of cinnamon. It looks quite nice on that black plate too. So let's have a look together. So let's see. We have our Loukoumades, or our fried donut holes, using our vegan honey. So that was the same one that we made together. With all these beautiful aromatic flavors, we had our orange blossom water. We also toasted our sugar to give some beautiful toasty caramel flavors. You can also add, as we mentioned, some of those other aromatics. And we made that lovely granola for our breakfast here. So I wonder if I could get a taste tester up to try some things. No? See if Man wants to come and try something. Do you want to? I'll let you choose what you want to try. Do you want to try some yogurt with the granola or Loukoumades?
No, what do I eat it with?
You just pick it up and you put it in your mouth. How's that?
It's cheaper than honey too, right?
Much cheaper. So this costs pennies instead of honey, because as we mentioned, we just use very, very inexpensive ingredients. Yeah. So there you go.
Very good.
Excellent. All right, guys. I will also put some of the links in there below for the granola if you want to give that a try, and the link to where I found the recipe for the Loukoumades. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give the vegan honey a try and let me know how you use it at home. And I will see you next week, same place, same time, here in the Vegan Gastronomy Kitchen. Bye.